morning, friends, and welcome to this webinar. This webinar at SPJIMR is hosted for the purpose of the PGDM program and the admissions process. I'm Professor Vasant Shivraman, and this is Professor Sesha here. And the way we have planned to organize this is to speak to you very briefly about the institution. We want to look at many of the questions that you have posted, and we've tried to organize those questions along a few common themes, and we'll try and address as many of those as possible. In the meanwhile, even as we speak, it's possible you may have questions and a need for more clarifications. Please feel free to post more questions as we go, and we'll try and take them, or we'll try and take as many of those as we can. And for now, for a brief on the institution, Professor Iyer.
Hello, welcome to you. See, you have collected a lot of information already about MBA, about SPJIMR, in the process of selecting where to apply, what specialization to take, and so on. But still, we give a brief about that. SPJIMR is a unit of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. And I'm very sure many of you may be already aware of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. It is the single trust with the largest number of educational institutions in India, and is declared as an institute of national eminence by the government of India. And we are proud to be part of SPJIMR. And our flagship program, the program which we started, as you know, is the PGDM, the 2-year full-time program. And the PGDM, the way the number of applicants have been increasing and the number of companies coming to recruit are increasing, also has placed that as higher and higher in the ranking. As you are aware, not only we are from among the top, many a time we appear among the first 5 institutions in the national ranking by any of the ranking agency. And the full-time 2-year PGDM program, as you are aware, has got 4 specializations: financial management, finance, marketing, operations, and information management, IM. These are the 4 specializations. So we have gone through some of the generally asked questions, and we are aware that previously what are the general questions that arise in your mind. So briefly, we tell this. The criteria that we look start from a consistently good academic record. Second one is experience and the relevance of experience. And the third is the CAT score, or the GMAT score, or SAT, whichever we declare as eligible to be considered at national level admission test. And then the extracurricular activity, the achievement at a national level, at any of the activity, can be cultural, can be sports, so any of these activity. And finally, across we verify as a person, how the person is, what is the attitude, what is the core value, the humility, and all these come together. These are the 5 parameters that is taken for the admission. And one of the general questions asked is, the selection is based on what? So there is a composite score based on all these activity, followed by 2 sets of interviews, as you are aware. So I just repeat, the composite score is based on what? One is consistently good academic record. Second one is the experience. The third one is the achievement and the extracurricular activity, or the special achievement that you have got, including the personality and as the core value that you have got. And the next is the CAT score. And finally come 2 sets of interviews, which are group interviews. These are the criteria. Now another question generally people ask is, what is the difference between profile based call and the remaining? Actually, the profile call includes everything other than the common entrance examination test score. So the profile score is should not be confused with a call based on the special achievement. It is one of the parameters. Only contrary, the profile score includes consistently good academic record, your personal achievement, as well as your experience, and all the things other than the CAT score. And as you know, there is a cutoff anyhow. Even if you are called for a profile call, unless you have that cutoff 85% or whatever we specify, you will not be eligible. And finally, the composite score is prepared after the interview, like anybody else, along with that all this together. Then another general question asked is, what is the significance of importance of the experience? Whether without experience people, freshers, whether they are at a disadvantage, there is nothing like that. So it is very natural for operations and IM, there is a higher weightage for experience. Experience is not mandatory for any of the specialization, but in IM and operation there is a higher weightage for experience. And for finance and marketing, that weightage is not there for experience. Then about the distinguishing feature, when we look back how SPJIMR became so much sought after by the applicants as well as by the recruiter, what we believe is, one is other than the knowledge and the skill, which SPJIMR has brought the curriculum structure and the teaching material from across the world. So when it started, materials were brought from Stanford, Wharton, Harvard. So anywhere that is taught at a globally renowned institution, the curriculum and the structure matches with that. But what is the difference is in the being part or the attitude part building, in the leadership part building, how SPJIMR has been experimenting and giving lot of importance on the development of the attitude and the core value. Therefore, you have come across the project DOCC, where the participants spend around 6 weeks along working with the NGO. Then we have got an Abhyudaya project where they part in the mentoring process. There is a course on science of spirituality, where the sense of contribution, the sense of service, that should be the guiding part in life. And the teaching pedagogy, not only case study by group work, the way we facilitate learning has also been much appreciated, and we go on improving that by getting inputs from the present and the students in the past. So these are some of the brief, and about the GFT, the global program, and all other details, our Vasant Shivaram will explain further, and in between anything required, we will discuss again. So back to Vasant.
Thank you. So we'll come to this GFT in a little while, but for now, let me touch upon a couple of things. A bit on the program itself, what makes it different and how is it distinct. And in fact, even before getting onto the program, just to touch upon a point made by Dr. Iyer, which is on the exams, qualifying exams accepted at SPJIMR. So you heard him say that the tests accepted are CAT, ZAT, GMAT, and for those of you who just might have heard ZAT as SAT, I just want to clarify that he meant ZAT over there. That's on the entrance test. On the program, a couple of points, because there have been a bunch of questions which seem to highlight and seek to understand how is this program architecture different. That's something we pride on. Many things are distinct at SPJIMR. The admissions process is one, and more on that as we go along. The program itself. So on the program, just touch upon a couple of salient aspects. It is organized along semesters, but there are a few things which make this architecture a little different. So for example, if I were to touch upon one, it's the fact that there is something called social projects, which DOCC or social projects that SPJIMR has been working with for a very long time now, which means that when other schools or other business schools are doing their summer projects or summer internships, that's the stage when the participants go for social projects, and typically this is in rural areas with a specific purpose behind it. And because the summers are taken by the social projects, the company internships are undertaken during the autumns. So this is very distinct. It's put in place long back. It seems to work very well, and it distinguishes the program from the other programs. Also, for many respects from the viewpoint of final placements. In the program itself, a couple of things, if I were to think about what's more recent, which is different, one which stands out is a required course on design thinking, which is very distinct again in many respects. So, for example, in the batch of 2016-2018, what's likely to happen is that this required course will come up front early in the first semester. We believe it's very important. We believe this has implications on the way you approach unstructured problems, and this is going to be revisited in many other courses during the program. So critical thinking, design thinking, these are aspects in the program which are being thought about very clearly and seriously. They come early in the program. They're very different from other business schools, also because it's not just a course, but it's something which gets reiterated and reflected in everything else you do in the program. So I talked about social projects. I talked about design thinking. The one other aspect, if I were to just restrict myself to three, would be this notion of the global fast track. So just a little bit about the global fast track. This is something which is scheduled after the third semester, which is in the second year. So you got 2 semesters in the first year. You've done your DOCC or social projects, and then your third semester, which is all about specialization, your area specialization course, all your electives, at the end of which the GFT schedule. GFT is stands for Global Fast Track. GFT was introduced just a year or two ago, and we've had one batch which has gone through the GFT in its entirety. The GFT essentially has credits, carries 3 credits in the program, so it's a significant component of the program. GFT reflects what we call, or like to believe, our higher level of specialization in your chosen area of major. And these are courses undertaken in highly rated schools overseas. So, for example, the operations majors go to Granite School at Purdue University. The finance majors go to Cornell. The marketing majors go to Darden School. And the IM majors go to CMU. So this is a period when they are immersed in running these courses offered by the faculty there. They get a chance to go visit industries, do projects, and finally, a high level of customization in the courses that they undergo there. So GFT is something, again, very distinct because the entire batch is going overseas to run a few courses in good schools and come back with significant experience that they should be able to leverage in their overall takeaways from the program and for the placements. So that was a little bit on the program itself, and the GFT. Based on some of the other questions that have already been received by us, and even now that we are receiving, we'd like to touch upon a couple of things. The first question that we've got here is, how should a candidate choose his or her specialization? Okay, let me share a few thoughts of mine. There's a reason why SPJIMR asks you to define your specialization even at the time of your application. This is one of the many other things that SPJIMR stands out for. The notion is that, you need to have some sense about why you want to do an MBA. I mean, of course, you'll answer that question in your interviews, why you want to do an MBA, but you want to think a little bit about what is it that you want to achieve and what kind of path do you see for yourself going ahead. So it could be your first major. Doesn't have to be a first major. It could be if you have work experience, and for many applicants there is work experience going up to a few years. So that might have given you some sense of what is it that you want to specialize in, where you want to build your career in. Or it could be just based on what you have explored and what you're trying to get to know even better. So I would really say that you need to think a little bit on what kind of career you want to achieve, what path you want to take, and hence what kind of major prima facie you want to look for. So essentially, as with many other things, you've got to be interested in it. You've got to be reasonably good at the kind of specialization you are aiming for, and it has to be reflected to some extent in how you spend your time, your free time. Do you try to pursue greater understanding or undertake some reading in your choice of specialization? And if it excites you, and that's most important, if it excites you and if you think that's what you want to do, then that's the specialization you need to pursue. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have significant related first degree or related work experience, but you must have some kind of a passion that you reflect in it, and the rest, of course, you hope that the program will help you develop. Want to add something to that? On specialization?
There are two things, especially those who have got experience, it is better, there is some advantage in going with the specialization where your experience has been. For example, especially those who are applying for IM and operation. And if you have been working in a core manufacturing sector, supply chain sector, and you have got 2-3 year experience, then there is a good advantage in leveraging and building on that. So it will be good to apply for operation. Similarly, those who are working in the IM sector and they want to go, in case they want to go back to the same sector, then there is a strengthening on the experience that is already built up also. This is one additional thing. So meanwhile, when I was initially introducing, I said the entrance examination like CAT, GMAT, SAT. See, my pronunciation was not very proper, so somebody said whether it is SAT. It is not SAT, SAT, X-A-T.
Yeah, very good. So this thing on specialization, choice of specialization, and your prior work experience, if any. We'd like to draw your attention to the fact that your application form also asks you to suggest not one but 2 areas of specialization that you might be interested in. In other words, your first preference and your second preference. So you get assessed for your application for the first preference of major that you indicated, and if for some reason that doesn't seem to work out as well as your second preference might, you have this opportunity to make this application on 2 heads. One doesn't prejudice the other, so you have a bit more of flexibility the way we see it in terms of deciding on the major or the specialization that you want to define in your application form, even at this stage. Want to take this?
No, you want to take this? No experience in a particular specialization. Want to switch industries. So there is nothing called a very thing called industry. So the question appears that if you are in a manufacturing sector, can we go to FMCG sector? That being may not be a major constraint. Switching industry may not be a major constraint.
Right. Okay.
So only tick mark, or we have to answer?
Yeah, I think we can take this one also. Here's a question. What are the aspects of the candidate seen at the stage of the personal interview? Let's answer this one.
See, personal interview, as we explained, there are 2 interviews. So the interview is a group interview. There will be 5 or 6 participants or candidates at a time, and the interview panel will have 2 to 4 members. And the criteria evaluated can be classified into 3. One is verifying what you have claimed for, whether you are, the academics generally already reflected in the application form, but about experience, about the versatility and the other achievement that you have claimed for. So some part will be assessing what extent that will be useful and apt. And the second part will be your general communication skill, behavioral aspects. And again, when we move on to the second interview, it is an attempt to have an idea about what are your core values. So that will be the second part of that. So these are the things what is assessed in the interviews.
Very good. So now there's some other questions. How about GMAT as a test for the application process? So as with CAT and ZAT, GMAT is another test that is used for the purpose of the test criteria. except that with ZAT, which needs to be 2015, and ZAT, which needs to be 2016, there's a bit of a difference with GMAT. Tests taken from Jan 2013 through December 2015 are eligible and acceptable from the GMAT perspective. And similarly for GMAT, you also have the qualifying score, which is essentially 650 on GMAT, which is something that is also stated on the website. If you visit it, to help you know in terms of if you've taken GMAT, how does it fit in with the application process and your chances on admission. Couple of other questions here now in terms of well, specializations. There are questions that are coming up on change of specialization. So of course at the time of the application you defined your specialization, your first preference and your second preference, and what if you wish to change your specialization after the first year. Now this is something that we recognize as a valid possibility, because you may have made your choice on a certain basis, and as you go into the program, after you've done your 2 semesters, or as you're doing your second semester also, you've done a couple of courses, you've done a few courses in your initial chosen major and also some other majors, and then you discover perhaps that you may want to switch majors. This is possible. There is a set of criteria which is already laid out within the setup, which is to say that in order to have a change of specialization, there is a time frame towards the end of the first year when applications are invited. And there's some criteria which is used, among others, of course, your performance on the courses of the area that you want to switch to. So in general, the faculty group looks at the application in terms of the performance and whether this person would be a good fit in the new area that the person wants to switch to. At times, we want to perhaps do some counseling discussions to find out what's the reason that you want to switch, and if it works best for the person, then within the criteria that are laid out, this kind of flexibility is in place. Where in fact, looking at perhaps this process a bit more closely, and it might be revisited, but by and large, you want to switch specialization at the end of the first year. There is a process in place, and you may be able to do it. However, there are some criteria that you need to meet. Criteria essentially in terms of performance and in terms of your extent of interest and fit with the area that you wish to switch to.
See, another doubt people have got is, if I am working in an IT company, whether I have to apply for IM specialization or whether I can apply for marketing, operation, finance. So it is very true that large number of applicants come from those who are working in the IT industry. So naturally, they have got scope to apply for any other stream, they can apply. But the advantage will be, suppose you are an IT, you are doing some software with a client which is related to supply chain management, project management, developing something, then your chance of getting operation will be more. Similarly, if you are IT industry working with some banking software, bank, financial sector, then your chance in finance is better. So IT as such, you are eligible to apply for any other field, but the chance of getting will be better if you relate to in IT what is that you exactly are doing. And in order to enable this only, we have started the 2 options, that is first preference. Suppose you give in marketing, but you are IM and you do not have any experience in marketing, but you like marketing, so you are given the first preference as marketing. Then in order to not to miss a chance, you can give the second preference in IM or any other area where you have got more relevant. So the area of interest that you have expressed being the first, in case by the system you are not selected for that, automatically you will be considered for the second choice, where you have got more relevance. So I will suggest that it is better to consider both your interest, where you want to be as the first choice, where you feel there is a leveraging on your experience and background better as a second choice, so you will not miss anyway. That is one method you can adopt for.
Good. Here's another new question. are internship opportunities provided by the institute. So let me take this in two parts, internship opportunities from the institute. The first, of course, is already been touched upon earlier, and that's the formal aspect structured into the program. There is the autumn's internship, which I assume people are fairly familiar with, and that's running at the end of the third semester. That's with a corporate, and that's with a specified project, and so on. That gives you the opportunity, the way we see it, to apply your skills that you have learned in the program in a context which helps in arriving at some solutions for organization, and in the process also learn some new things. That's the autumn project. Two, there is the DOCC project that again we talked upon a little earlier today, which is the social project. In the DOCC project, you're spending about a few weeks at the end of the first year in a rural setting, and among other things, you get to experience difficult situations, and in that setting, you have an opportunity to apply your learnings from the first year in arriving at solutions and recommendations for improving the situation for an NGO or otherwise. So now, these are the two projects which are fairly standard. In addition,
I will just add on that. See, this internship project, it is better that you appreciate. One special feature in SPJIMR is the autumn project, or the project that you do with the corporate. You are doing after completing all the core specialization courses also. So, in that way, the internship is not to familiarize what is going on in the company, but your project will be going to be like a consultancy project useful to the company, and the companies come here and they like to recruit people to do that. And also, you may be aware that more than 50% of these internship finally convert to a placement offer also. So, you have to see the special advantages, not only that SPJIMR facilitates internship, the special nature of the internship is a distinctive feature of SPJIMR.
Right. So those are essential aspects of the internship. And just to wrap up on the internship front, there's a third dimension, that's the way I see it, is internship by way of what we call live projects. So it is possible that in the course of the program, in connection with some courses, or even outside of courses, there are opportunities to look at involvement in projects that are live, that are of interest to companies, and that are performed by the participants. So there is, say, the consulting club or the consulting group, which has been in the recent months sourced some projects from companies for which there were expressions of interest from student groups in order to participate and to run with those projects. Just as this example, there are other possibilities of live projects that student groups can get an opportunity to be part of and to enhance their learnings and their takeaways from the program. Entrepreneurship.
See, entrepreneurship, there is a Center for Entrepreneurship at SPJIMR, and there are a number of courses offered in entrepreneurship, core courses as well as elective courses. And also there is a opportunity that those who opt to be an entrepreneur and opt out from the placement process, opportunity is given to them. And those people who opt out from the placement and say that we want to become an entrepreneur, the necessary opportunities and help, managerial help and input given by the faculty, and also for 1 year at least they are given along with a monthly honorarium or a stipend also given to them to see that they are successful, and also in the eventuality of their coming back after 1 year or 2 years, they are still included in the placement process as a risk mitigation or as a factor that also is taken care of. So these are the some of the feature I remember about entrepreneurship. You want to add anything?
That I think covers it all. So let me touch upon another question which has come up, which is relating to internship again, autumn versus summer. How is autumn internship different from summer internship? We're all familiar with summer internship, which is the way most schools go, and we have autumn internship at SPJIMR. So there are, of course, pluses and maybe some downsides, but net-net we think it gives a significant edge to the SPJIMR participants, and here's why. When this, the timing of the autumn's internship itself is, the first thing. It is slotted at the end of the third semester. This is in the middle of the second year, roughly, which means that by the time the autumn internship comes up, the participants have gone through all their electives. So in each of the specializations, all the major courses have been conducted, which means that when you go for your autumn's internship, and mind you, before this autumn internship, the global fast track is also completed, which means that for this batch, for example, they have done 10 courses, or 10 credits rather, 10 credits in their major area, plus another 3 credits in the overseas location, all in their area of specialization. So at this stage, when they get down to their projects at the companies, we believe they're in a position to do a much better job. They have better knowledge, they have better skills, they have a better ability to look at different situations, perform the right kind of analysis, and arrive at defensible recommendations. This is in contrast to the internship conducted at the end of the first year, the summer internship. At the end of the first year, there is, of course, a coverage of all the general courses, but not the specialized courses. So this is one clear advantage in terms of doing the internship in autumns as opposed to summer. The other thing is that at the time of the autumns, there are of course fewer people in the organization doing the internship because the summer interns are not there. So it is, in a sense, if you look at it, an ability to perhaps get a better choice of projects because there are few people competing for those projects. Perhaps get a better choice of projects and also better quality time from the mentors, because the learning during the internship is all a function about the live projects that you get involved over there. One other aspect of the autumn internship is that relating to the PPO, the pre-placement offers that Sarajit talked about. By the time of this, around this time of the autumn internship, the companies get to see the performance of the interns on the job, and in the weeks to go after that, they are pretty much clear about their recruitment plans for the upcoming year in terms of numbers, functions, roles, and so on. And there is then this fresh recall of the interns who did their work during the autumns. We find at SPJIMR that the PPOs as a percentage of the total batch go up to roughly 50%. As high as 50%. So pretty much half the batch is placed even before the final placement season starts. And all this is coming out of the autumns, and all of this in some ways perhaps linked to the fact of the timing of the autumns, the preparation of the participants for the autumns, the time that they can get from the mentors, the quality of the projects, and the works. So this kind of puts this element of autumns and summer internship in a bit of a contrast. This one you want to take?
If you want to, somebody has asked what are the learning and the career opportunities for freshers. Actually, some of you may have already some idea of what is the profile of the job that you are taking up, or what type of industry or what type of company you want to be. But may not be everybody, because freshers and all will come with little more open. So during the year that you progress through your program here, our industry connect is of a very high order. So a lot of companies come, not only at the time of replacement offer, but during the course itself. So you will be getting lot of opportunities, you will be exposed to lot of opportunities, and the career opportunity will shape up. And as far as learning are concerned, so very sure that the first year gives such a big foundation of lot of leadership element to meet any type of situation and emotional maturity. All this which are required for any type of position is an integral part of the management education, especially that has been experimented upon and brought it into SPJIMR. So you need not worry so much about whether you have got a very perfect choice of what is the type of job you get, because the world is like that. It depends upon what opportunity you come across also.
There are some questions coming up even now about the fit for the different specialization and fit more in particular in terms of work experience. So what's the spread of average experience across specialization? Here's the question. So of course we've got 4 specializations, which is we've got marketing, you've got finance, you have IM, and you have operations. And just by looking at the requirements from the workplace, that's from the recruiters, and by way of requirements of the design of these courses in these different majors, it then stands to reason that there is a certain preference for profile in terms of work experience from the applicants. So more specifically, for IM and for operations, you would expect the candidate would have a better or more work experience relative to finance and majors. Now, of course, we are talking about relative work experience or related work experience. If I were to start with, say, finance and marketing, we're looking at some freshers and some people who might have experience of, say, up to a couple of years. Typically, we've had in the past recent batches profiles of people who have spent time in market research firms, people who have spent time in the knowledge centers of some of the consulting firms, of some of the research and the security firms, and so on. So it may be a fresher for these 2 areas. It may be people with a couple of years experience, and for the other 2 majors, that is IM and operations, people would tend to have more experience and more likely related experience, more related experience. And when I say more experience, it would go up to about 4 odd years.
2 to 3 years. Actually, for operations and IM, the majority are 2 to 3 year experience.
We do have, of course, at SPJIMR another program which looks at people with higher levels of work experience. That is the PGDM. So at the PGDM, we are looking at between freshers to up to 3 odd years of experience, which is something that is spread across the choice of the major that you have opted for.
So another doubt which has come is whether companies recruit people from operation, and that also whether they do without experience. See, for any of these discipline, as we said earlier, eligibility is concerned, we cannot say that experience is compulsory for any of the branches. And operation people are eligible for recruitment not only in the supply chain area or the sectors, manufacturing, FMCG, service sector, and so on. Number of companies, whether it is IT company, whether there is e-commerce company, and also those companies, they find operation people are recruited by various sectors, not confined to either manufacturing or the other. And there are opportunity like a consultancy, the opportunity like the Tata administrative service. They look for young, bright people who have got a grasp of the overall management knowledge, as well as their attitude and their innovative approach to problem solving, which are across the program. So there are a number of opportunities which are available across the program also.
Right. One quick one about a question relating to exchange opportunities. So earlier in this segment, we spoke a fair bit about the Global Fast Track, GFT. Now the GFT is for the entire batch. All specializations travel to another school, and these are schools in the US. They spend a few weeks over there, and they go through a few credits, and they do go through a few customized courses. In addition to the GFT, there is also this opportunity for the international exchange. So essentially, in semester 4, which is in the second year, which is after the GFT and after the autumn's internship, there is an opportunity for participants to go for the international exchange program. There are exchange relationships with many good schools across the world. This is beyond US and Europe and elsewhere. And there are certain criteria laid down for applying for these exchange schools. So this allows the participants to go and at a certain period of time and take on a few courses that are offered by the schools at that point over there, which means that these courses are not necessarily customized, but it also means that you get to sit in a class with other participants from other nationalities, etc., to take on those courses. This is a choice. This is it is separate from the GFT, and this is something many participants opt to go for, which means that if you take this international exchange, then you do that many fewer courses in the last semester at SPJIMR.
Then some of the question, one is asked about what are the main events at SPJIMR, theatre group, etc. And also I will tell that also, and then something connected with that. See, the students are involved in the many of the activity that is run. In running the institution, the participants also take a role. They get a chance to running the institution. So you might have read or you might have heard from others that we have got a program called ATMAP, Learning Administration by Doing. And there are a number of committees, student committee. For example, this program that you are seeing, we are here in front of you because there is one admission committee. They are all sitting here. I don't know whether they are seen on the screen. They are all sitting here. Like that, there are committees for placement, there are committees for various activity here. And they organize number of events what you have, the question is about. So one is inter-business school competition. That is, we participate in many of the competition by other institutions, other IIMs and so on. And we conduct a program which is called OJS, which is a 3 or 4 day program with a business competition involving a large variety of competition on intellectual, for entertainment and all the things together. And we are one of the people who have started for business school in sports and athletics. That is called Sprint. That is another program that we organize. Then throughout the year, there are programs like a theatre group. There is a cultural committee arranging different, promoting different cultural activity. So the opportunities for all this and also have a socialization opportunities also appreciated by the participants.
Very good. So a couple of points that are here relating to
this another question has asked is what is the difference between Ops and IM? Because operations management are area wise, if you consider, they include various aspects of the supply chain management. It can be the inbound logistics area, which include procurement, the strategic sourcing planning, or the stores management, contract management and so on as far as the inbound logistics part is concerned. Or it can be in-company logistics part, which include manufacturing planning and control, facility planning, project management and so on. It can be the outbound logistics portion, which can be warehouse management, distribution and so on. So companies can be a retailer or e-commerce company like a Flipkart or Amazon, all these companies. These are the various opportunity. Whereas IM is concerned, that is the information management side of all these activity. So the IM is across, no? IM can be for banking, IM can be for any other operation, and IM, IT companies recruit. But here, since we have already done engineering and technology, there is less of technology in IM compared to IT and more of management, and how to use IT for business is more important than knowing the technology better. So it is at a higher level management input, how to use IT strategically to get a competitive advantage is what is covered in IT more.
Right. So there seems to be some question about
quotas and reservations. So actually we do not have any reservation or quota. All the admissions are done purely on the merit basis. So the merit, as we said, the criteria that we have told, So the 100% admission, all the seats are as per merit. There is no reservation for any special quota for anybody, management, no quota for anybody.
No management quota. That's what you're also saying over here. Good. Just a couple of points on questions relating to placements, to final placements. So again, as with everything else that you've heard so far, placements is also conducted a little differently at SPJIMR. So we don't have the concept of those 24-hour, 48-hour placements where everything is collapsed in a couple of days. So placements are also spread out a little bit, and they are organized in what is termed as clusters. So for example, the FMCG companies come together in one cluster. It allows people who are interested in roles with those companies to make a very reasoned choice about which ones they want to go for. In general, the placements have been witnessing a very promising trend. A lot of details are available on the website because the IPRS report, which is the audited report, which SPJIMR is one of the very few institutes to publish and put up, is available. Just to pick on some of the summary aspects on placements in terms of compensations. For the batch which got placed last, the mean salary was 18 lakhs plus, and that's a trend which has been moving up significantly over the last few years, and that's reflected, of course, across the specializations as well. But more interesting perhaps might be to get a sense of the kind of companies across specializations. So for example, if you were to look at IM as a specialization, and again, incidentally, SPJIMR is one of the few institutes which offers a specialization in IM. Most institutes do offer finance, do offer marketing and so on, but not too many in IM. We touched upon the program architecture earlier, where we talked about the level of specialization that is possible because of the focus of courses in semester 3 leading on to the GFT. So we know, especially from the feedback of participants who have got back from this year from their GFT at CMU, and CMU incidentally is one of the highly ranked universities across the world, that the quality of the coursework and the inputs that they've received is pretty significant. Picked up pretty fast on placement and tend to get it done at high salaries as well. When I say high, I'm referring to the average that we talked about. Just to go through some of the significant recruiters, because that's another question that's come up as far as placement is concerned. On IM, we've got some consulting roles coming out of, for example, Cognizant and Deloitte. But other than that, as you might expect, a fair number of offers and opportunities these days are in the domain of e-commerce. So whether it is IM or it is operations or marketing, you've got a lot of recruitment being done by Flipkart, Amazon, and so on. But staying with IM, the largest recruiter the year gone past has been GE India. There was Deloitte, there was HCL, Amazon, IBM, and so on, and some of the other well-known names as well. Very quickly going on across the other specializations, we've got the larger recruiters in finance, HSBC, there was Yes Bank and Vodafone, and so on, going across the list to Accenture, KPMG, Citibank, and so on. In marketing, again, reflecting the trend of the way the economy is moving, we've got significant recruitment being done by Amazon, and then some of the standard well-known companies, FMCG, there is Johnson & Johnson, there is Mondelez, there's Cadbury, there's Procter & Gamble, and so on. In ops, again, the same trend, we've got Amazon, Flipkart, SAP, Mondelez, and so on. And if you were to look at, at the end of the day, if you were to sum up some of the names that hire in significant numbers who come again to campus, repeat to campus, because really speaking, while we do have a certain number of new companies coming to campus every year to enrich and diversify the base that we have. Some of the good companies, they're happy to repeat and come every year. So the significant recruiters that come year on year include TAS, they include BCG, there is HSBC, there is Goldman Sachs, and some of these are of course for mid-office roles as well. There is PwC, P&G, Hindustan Unilever, Coke, Nestle, L'Oreal, and so on. I think that might help get some flavor of the compensation, the trends, the areas, the recruiters, and the spread across areas.
Now another question has come about the ranking and accreditations. So the ranking, there are a number of agencies. There is not a single agency give you ranking, but we are happy to tell that whoever be the ranking agency who are doing at a national level, and those ranking whether IIMs participate, if you look at it, we have been, SPJIMR has been consistently one among the top 10, and many a time the top we got is third also in one of that, and many a time fifth, sixth and all, that is the ranking. And accreditation is concerned, we are AICTE approved, and the NBA accreditation is an ongoing process. So this year we are again applying, and we are AMBA accredited. AMBA, as you may be aware, is a European accrediting agency, and we are one among the 3 institutes in India who are AMBA accredited. And we are also in an advanced stage of going ahead with the AACSB accreditation, which is America based, but it is internationally the best well known, and we are in the final process of accreditation of AACSB. So this is about ranking and accreditation. And then another doubt was about the pedagogy. So pedagogy, we as a started, when we started, we told that the case method and the curriculum structure, we are one among the first in India to bring in, other than IIM, all the case study and number of simulation, large number of simulation. And we are specialized in the non-classroom or the beyond the classroom learning that is taking place. You can very well say that SPJIMR has been pioneers in that. So about pedagogy, you want to add anything? There is a group work culture is there, number of items, there are assignments, because the final idea is the whole is a learning process, and learning has to come from within, and learning cannot be taught, and all that you get are external factors that will facilitate learning. So in that, over a period of time we have been experimenting and find whether it is application exercises, whether it is a group work, whether it is a quiz, whether it is examination, whether giving you a field work, whether giving you a project work, and number of items, and involving you in the administration, and all these number of experiments have been done as pedagogy. And Vasant, want to add anything about pedagogy?
Yeah, a couple of points, quick points. So in terms of the peer group, what can you expect to find over here? The peer group tends to be, I think, fairly distinct and different. I can say that after having seen it over the many years. There is this effort, clear effort that SPJIMR, we take at SPJIMR, starting from the application process, to bring in some diversity. So, for example, people talk about gender diversity, and the fact of the matter is that I think that we have a significantly high proportion of women candidates or women participants in the batch. Number is as high as high 40s for the batch which is on campus. That's very high compared to many of the other places. And as we all recognize, that diversity itself brings a lot of makes a lot of a difference and an impact to the learning on campus, learning in classroom, and so on. So the diversity extends to a large extent to geography as well. People who come from various parts of the country bring their own experiences and perspectives. There is a lot of diversity in terms of your first degree. So while across most leading programs you tend to find a dominance of engineers, and that's not untrue with SPJIMR as well, but that weightage of engineers is something which may not be so skewed as you might find in some other places. Do we try to encourage people who are non-engineers? I think subconsciously at least we do, because we like to see people who are coming from the humanities, people who have done courses, their first degrees which are not just engineering, who for the reason that they do bring a lot of diversity for class learning, class effectiveness, and the beyond class learning. So there is a lot of peer group learning, there's a lot of group work, there's a lot of stuff that you do outside of class. So in terms of the peers or the participants that you're likely to see if you were to come on to this program, you'll find that it's very different. And as some recruiters put it, and I think that's a nice way of topping it up, the way the recruiters put it, the students at SPJIMR don't have a chip on their shoulders. This is something which we try to look at in the application process, in the admission process, and hopefully what we try and do during the program itself. So the participants that graduate from this program are different in more than one way from the other schools. This bit on pedagogy itself, let me make a couple of points and mention about use of management simulations. So many schools of course increasingly use cases and other forms of pedagogy, things like role play and theater and so on. However, at SPJIMR, I think we can say quite some pride that we've been one of the pioneers in the use of simulations. The use of simulations goes back many, many years, but also the fact that we use many simulations. We use a lot of simulations across programs, and in the PGDM program in particular, both in the first year, right in the beginning of the program, you're introduced to a course which is entirely sim-based, and then of course later in the program, including in your last semester, you get an opportunity to work with sim-based programs. We are convinced about the efficacy and the the usefulness of learning by simulations. Come to SPJIMR, you will find a lot of sim-based programs that incidentally happen to be a lot of fun as well.
So there is no, somebody asked whether there is any disadvantage or special advantage for reapplicant. Answer is no. There cannot be any special advantage reapplication, and also there cannot be any special disadvantage also. So it remains the same whether you are reapplying or not. On the contrary, by the applying earlier, you get an experience and better performance is left to you. Otherwise, no special thing. Another thing is there any special weightage for engineering, non-engineering, diversity? Actually not necessary, because our criteria are so diverse in nature, automatically when all the criteria are applied, we get an adequately diverse profile of the people already. And another question is a repetition of how do we give the profile-based calls. As we said, profile-based calls includes all criteria, that is for the final also, excluding the admission, whether CAT or GMAT, whatever score. Other than that, everything is considered. And then over that, who are anyhow the very topmost, who are the best, and they are likely to be considered. They are given the call letter, and that also specified that only if you are above 85%, then only they will be eligible for that. Otherwise, profile is not merely based on or confined to versatility. That idea should not come. It is based on the overall, including consistently good academic record, including the relevance of experience, and versatility and other factors other than the CAT score. So that is where the profile based call is given. So further questions are coming. See, the process we already explained. And interview dates, Vasant, you got a better idea, or Bindu will tell? Bindu, once you tell, we can.
I'll deal with that.
You got, okay.
Okay, so in terms of the process and the next steps, for those who have seen the advertisement inviting or announcing that the process is open, you'll be aware that the applications close 7th December. You could expect that, and then of course you take your test, including CAT and ZAT, and you wait for results. But then the profile-based calls are processed even as those things run in parallel. The dates for the interviews, and mind you, we are talking about those group interviews, up to 2 rounds of group interviews. The process for that is slated to run from January into February, and most of it in February. So you've got 2 occasions for those interviews in Mumbai, and then you have the other locations, which is Bangalore, Delhi, and Kolkata. So the first round of Mumbai is in the second half of January, and then we have Bangalore, Delhi, and Kolkata in the first and second week of February. So the 4 locations spread across 5 to 6 weeks, starting second half of January, running into February. That's the plan for the process as far as the interviews are concerned. We recognize that you may have more questions arising from this webinar. We suggest you speak with your friends, your peers, your seniors, and others, and try to get and understand a bit more. Look up our website, you'll find much resources. You may have questions that you might have raised now, and you might feel it's not being explicitly addressed today. But rest assured that the admissions team, which is handling this, is going to deal with all the questions that you have put up, or you will, or likely to come up with in the course of time. We hope to be able to address all your questions as far as possible individually, and expect some response in your mailbox. We have a very committed team in the admissions process, many of whom are students, and you can use our website, get a lot of information, and use think and the mailbox. And of course, in due course of time, there will be more on the road, and think about this carefully, important decisions, and we hope to see many of you applying, and hope to see the best of you joining us at SPJIMR campus.
So do well, prepare well for your, if you are fresher, do well for the current examination also, and also prepare well and do well for the competitive examination also, so that we will have a chance to meet and select you. So wish you the best.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.